Hello again, chaps and chappettes. How are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, I'm going to try and keep this as brief as possible, my dear friends, because I don't wish to repeat myself all the time, every time I bring you a story of this nature. I will start by saying we have another one. And that's all you really need. For the past 30 or 40 times I have brought you stories of this nature. That's all I've really needed to say to you. Just a very small recap about what we've got coming up here. We have got a Lithuanian national who was deported back to Lithuania. He came back here illegally and R-worded a woman. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into this and get cracking on, because I don't wish to overstay my welcome when I bring you these stories. A man who was deported back to Lithuania returned to the UK to R-word a woman. Andris Zakurakas pleaded guilty to 3 charges of R-word and assault occasioning actual bodily harm after he forced himself into his victim's home. The 55-year-old met the stranger at Hanley bus station in Stoke-on-Trent earlier this year, invited her to his home and stopped off for vodka and wine. However, just minutes after arriving at the property, he became sexually aggressive, forcibly removing her clothes, pinned her down, and R-worded her. Stoke-on-Trent Crown Court heard how the woman told him to stop and get off her, but he held her down, causing bruising to her arms before repeatedly striking her to her head and face. Zakurakas told police he did not use a condom, explaining he is not a fan of them, and denied any aggression or assault. It's like some kind of etiquette. Oh no, I didn't use a rubber johnny because I'm not a fan of them. Whereas, what if he did use one? It's somehow politically correct to R-word a woman if you put on a rubber. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? Christ on a bike. He added she went to his home voluntarily and the sexual activity was consensual, reports Stoke-on-Trent Live. The Lithuanian of Davis Street, Shelton, has been handed a 12-year extended sentence and is liable for deportation to his homeland. What's the fucking point? They'll just end up back here within 6 months, I should imagine. Prosecutor Andrew Barker told the court she was physically overpowered by a much larger man, pinned down and restrained by her arms while the defendant continued to R-word her. This just shoots down in flames how men and women are so superiorly equal. I mean, the fact that men are inherently stronger than women, bigger muscle mass, thicker bone density, just goes straight out the window with some people, particularly in PC UK 2025. This man is 55 years old, knocking 60 years old, and he's still overpowered this younger woman. I rest my case, my friends. Prosecutor Andrew Barker told the court she was physically overpowered by a much larger man, pinned her down and restrained her by her arms, while the defendant continued to R-word her. The victim was terrified and said she feared for her life. After the essay, the defendant's aggression escalated. He punched her in the face and head multiple times, causing a nosebleed, bruising and swelling. Blood was visible on her body, legs and arms, and later found on bedding and walls. The victim was left half naked and bleeding, while the defendant also remained unclothed. Housemates, alarmed by the shouting and the sight of a woman covered in blood, called the police. Kel fucking surprise, no shit Sherlock, what else are you going to do if you see a woman staggering half naked through the corridor in your fucking home, covered in blood like she's just been brutally R-worded? Of course you're going to call the police, unless you've got a fucking screw loose up there somewhere, of course. Officers documented injuries, including bruising, swelling, and a split lip. The defendant was arrested. The court heard how Zakurakas has multiple previous convictions for acquisitive crimes, whatever the hell that is, minor assault and drunkenness between 2008 and 2012 before he was initially deported. He returned to the country illegally and committed a further offence of assaulting an emergency worker in 2022. That does make my piss boil when I hear and see people abusing NHS staff, particularly when they're pissed up or drugged up and they're there trying to save their lives and fucking help them, and they're trying to hit them, they are verbally abusing to them. I cannot abide by that. Doctors, nurses, ambulance workers, firemen, when they all get abused, I feel like getting that person and gripping them by the scruff of the fucking neck. Believe me, particularly when the people are putting their lives in danger simply to try and fucking save yours. Have a bit of respect and fucking gratitude, you absolute pissing scumbag. While in Lithuania in 2019, he committed a domestic violence offence. Now, this is going to go on all the time, my dear friends. There's really point, really, in deporting people who, the very few who we decide to deport. Even when Nigel Farage comes into number 10 and he hopefully fucking fingers, toes and bollocks crossed, he does actually grow a pair of balls and deport hundreds upon thousands of people, they're still going to keep coming back and back and back. It's like playing a game of squash, only with a dinghy with France across the fucking channel, as opposed to against a wall. Until we start deploying the Navy or plastering the National Guard across every single shoreline, up and down this country, it's just going to keep on happening. If you don't stop the boats, if you don't put some kind of blockade in the English Channel, there is simply no point in deporting these fucking criminals. Because believe you me, they'll just hop, skip and fart all the way across Europe and get their fucking stinky, savage asses back into this country post-haste to do exactly the fucking thing again that they were initially deported for. It's fucking ludicrous, guys. It's an absolute farce. That's my video. Carpe diem as always. Let me know what you think in the comments as always, and I shall see you in a bit. Christ on a bike. Cheers.